Welcome to Horror Stories Beyond the Grave. A creepy Uber horror story. It was late at night when my shift had just started ending at 8. I clocked out and started walking to my car. It was getting dark out, but I didn't mind. I drove home in the dark every day, and it wasn't that far, so it didn't really scare me. When I got to my car, it wouldn't start. There was something wrong with my engine. I decided that it wasn't worth the trouble this time at night to try fix it, so I called up an Uber and waited. Something peculiar about this day was that there was a man who came in at least 15 times asking if Alan worked here. My manager always told him no, but he kept on coming. It was weird. A car pulled up right in front of me. And it was weird because my Uber driver wasn't near close to where I was. The car didn't even look right. I was confused. I had looked at my driver, and it was the creepy man asking for Alan. I told him that he wasn't my driver, and he said, of course I was. But I knew that he was full of it, so I told him to just leave me alone. Then he got angry with me. He said, "Oh, is that how you feel? Well, I'm sorry for wasting your time." Another 15 minutes goes by and my Uber driver arrives in the car that it's supposed to be. I was relieved. It even said that on the map that he was here. I walked up to him and he was wearing a hoodie with his hood on. It was weird because all I could see was his smile. But I didn't even see his mouth, just his blindingly shiny teeth in the darkness. I got in the car and he started driving. We made a bit of small talk in the beginning, and then I just started texting my friend and playing games on my phone, and I kept hearing this bump in the back of his car. It sounded like it was coming from the trunk. After about the 5th time, I started getting suspicious and asked him to pull over to the side of the road with the lame excuse that I had to pee. He bought it, and I emptied my very short bladder after getting out of the car, and there was that bump again. I opened the trunk, and there was someone tied up inside. I looked at their face, and it was my Uber driver. The man driving got out of the car with a gun, told me to close the trunk and get back inside. I recognized that voice. It was the creepy man. I didn't know what to do. I was so scared. So, I got in the car and asked him why he was doing this to me. He said he knew a friend named Alan who worked at Applebee's, which is where I was working. He said that Alan was strangely murdered 2 weeks ago, and he knew it was someone at work. Alan never told him about any of his co-workers, so he decided to pick them off one by one, starting with me. I pleaded for my life, but he didn't listen. I was so scared I didn't know what to do, and my Uber driver in the trunk was also begging for his life. Very muffled sounds. The man was driving erotically fast, and eventually he stopped at a drawbridge. It was weird because I looked in the rearview mirror and he looked absolutely horrified. He then told me I could go, and he got out the car and let my Uber driver out so he could take me to my real house, and then he dove into the woods suspiciously. I've never seen that man again in my life, but that was definitely one of the scariest moments I've ever experienced.